Okay, Linda, tell me, when was the first time? When did this whole journey of your light language and, this start?
Well, actually, speaking the light language started in Los Angeles, California, over a summer that I spent with my great grandmother.
Okay.
And my great grandparents were Pentecostal preachers. They
Mm-hmm.
were retired. However, they still went to the church. And every Sunday, when we were there visiting for the summer, we went every Sunday and we went every Wednesday night to church. And it was a small room called the 500 room. It was more intimate than the big church.
Mm-hmm.
So this particular Wednesday night, the church at the end of the ceremony, and the end of the service, the church always has a calling. They want to save souls, so they have this calling. They bring you down. They play all this heartful music that tugs at your heart. Normally, I would just not pay attention to it, but this particular night, it moved me a great deal. And I was only like 11 years old, between 11 and 12. And so my grandmother, who was sitting next to me, all of a sudden she says, it's okay, you're being called, go ahead and go down. So I looked at my grandmother like she was crazy. It was like, how come she knows what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
So, but I did. So I went down, yeah, and I went down, and there were other people down there. Here comes this little, short little girl, 11, 12-year-old girl, goes down the aisle, goes down and gets in line, and the preacher walks down the line, and he's speaking in tongue, and he touches the forehead of everybody, and they get slain in the spirit. That's what they call it, being slain in the spirit. So he touched me, and my body went straight down. They have ushers behind you to catch you so that you gently fall. You don't crash and burn. They
Okay.
catch you and they lay you down. And of course, I don't remember that part of it. I only remember waking up and them helping me back up. And when they helped me back up, I began to speak in the tongue myself.
Okay.
And that's how it started for me. But being that young and not knowing why I did it or what it was for,
Mm-hmm.
um, my grandmother told me a little bit about it, but not that much. And then I went home to San Diego, where we lived. And my parents, from what I understand, never even knew that I spoke in tongue. And
Okay.
it just lay dormant for all of these years, although I can't really say that it lay dormant because I did use it for myself as a young woman. I was raising kids, going through crises, that kind of stuff. And I didn't know what to pray for. I didn't know how to pray, so I used this language to pray with.
So
And it was
did you
very
know
personal. It
that?
was just to
Did
me.
you
My
know that?
children,
Oh, did you know that it was light language at that time? What you were speaking?
no, no, at that time we called it tongue. That's the only thing I
Okay.
knew. We called speaking in tongue.
Okay.
And that's all I knew about it.
Mm.
And it wasn't until later on in life that I happened to see the words light language on somebody's website and thought to myself, wow, I wonder if that's the same thing that I do. And that it started my investigation. And I started
Yeah.
seeking and started looking, only to come to know that in one of the articles that I read that it was the same thing as speaking in tongues. It's
Yeah.
called soul language as well. So they call it,
Yeah.
it's a more modern way of saying speaking in tongues. They call it soul language and they call it light language.
Yeah. Nice. So your family didn't know? I mean, that you had this in you? They never heard you speak?
No, my mom, no, 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 my parents, my siblings, nobody. I never spoke it to anyone. And I don't believe my grandmother told them. If she told anybody, she would have spoken to my mom about it, but my mom never asked me about it. So
Okay.
we never spoke about it. And nobody ever heard me speak it. Not my children, not my husband, not not my parents or siblings. Nobody ever heard me. It was private. It was mine. It belonged just to me.
All right. So when did you start this whole thing?
So I
Yeah. And so when did you start this as like what you do now? How did you start this? Using it for healing, sending it to people. Yeah.
right. I actually started doing this after I found Channeling Erik. Channeling Erik is the one that really kind of opened things up for me. And actually, I was already a member of Channeling Erik when I saw the words light language.
Okay.
I never really put the two things together. I was taken to Channeling Erik because my daughter had called me. I was living in Arizona at the time, and she was here in Florida, and she called me with a concern about one of her children. And she was very, very concerned this child was going to hurt herself. So after I had this conversation with her, I looked up childhood suicide. And when I looked up childhood suicide,
Yeah.
I, sorry,
That's okay. Yeah.
I immediately saw Channeling Erik
Yeah.
right away. That's what I saw.
Okay.
And so I started investigating Channeling Erik, and that is when all of this really, 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 really started to uh, come to a little bit more of an understanding. And then to go from there, I went from while I was investigating Channeling Erik, I ran across, I became a member of the group, and then I ran across another person by the name of Adi Heron, who was an energy healer, and he was doing remote energy healings. And
Mm.
that's how I got to know him. And he created a little group called Adi's Angels, and there was like 20 of us in that group. And
Mm-hmm.
Adi is the first person that I spoke to about
Oh,
me speaking in tongues. And
okay.
I explained to him what I did, and I also explained to him I don't know why I do this and what I'm supposed to do with it. And
Mm-hmm.
he said to me, "Why don't you make a video and share it with people?" And just like the rest of the light workers, when these things are awakening within you, it was like, "Oh no, I can't do that."
Yeah.
Nobody had ever heard me do that. And I was
Right.
like, "No, people think I'm crazy." It's like, "No, no, they won't." But I didn't do it. Even though he asked me to do it, I didn't do it. And a few months went by. That was in summertime. And then come December, I received a message from the girls in the group that Audie had passed away. So
Mm.
after his death, um, I was really in shock that he had passed away. But then I was thinking, and I'm pretty sure Audie was pushing me from the other side and reminding me that he had asked me to do that. So to kind of honor him, I went ahead and did that. So I made just a short recording, video recording, and I shared it in the group. And all the girls had a response to it. They all had different responses to it, but they all had a response, and they all contacted me right away. And that started the whole thing for me because they then began to ask me to do private light language sessions for them because they had so much reaction to it. They knew something was going on.
Yeah.
And so when I did that, that's when I stepped out of the comfort zone. I shared that with them. And by doing that, began other abilities began to open up for me.
Okay.
And that's kind of how my channeling started. And it's been a long journey. That was after we moved here in this house. So we moved in here in October 13. So this had to be early 14 when all this started transpiring. Probably January, February, because Audie passed away in December. So it's been a very slow awakening.
Yeah.
But the big secret here is stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something that is uncomfortable for you to do and maybe even scares you to do it. But once you do it, it's like you're telling your higher self and your guides and angels, you know what, I'm ready. I'm ready. So bring it on. What else am I going to get?
Yeah.
And
And
so
when
it was after that point, well,
you're
exactly.
ready, you
It
get the
was after
chance.
that point that exactly. And when they know you're ready,
Yeah.
when your spirit knows you're ready, when your higher self knows you're ready, they began to let other things awaken within you. And it was during this process that I began to channel spirits. Because I stepped out of that comfort zone and started sharing my light language, the next the next step for me on my path was to allow channeling to come through.
Yeah.
So that was the next thing that happened. And it's been a very slow process. And it's taken me from 13, now we're here at 18. So you say 4 years, over 4 years, going on 5 years, for all these different awarenesses to come to me as to exactly why I'm here, what my purpose is in this timeline on Earth.
Yeah. Beautiful. So now you perceive energy, right? You can like talk to spirits, people who've crossed over, right? So you get their ability.
Yes, I
Okay. So you don't actually see them,
I
right?
get yes. No, I don't see them with my naked eye. But I do, I learned how. I didn't know how in the beginning. It's such an awareing process. You just get aware of one part of it, and then once you've got that down pat, then they give you another part. So what happened was, once that channeling began, my next step of awareness was to understand energy and to understand different energies as they come in. And right away, visions didn't come right away. That was another awareness, another step. I was doing the channeling and I could hear spirit and I could deliver the messages that were coming through for my clients. I could do that. And actually, in the beginning, I did this for my group people. I didn't have a website. I didn't have a business out of it or anything. And so, a little by little, my awareness came to me with different abilities. So then after I started channeling, I'm doing that for quite some while, and then suddenly I'm doing a session for somebody and I'm channeling for them. Now I get a vision. Now I'm seeing in my mind's eye, I'm seeing like grandma and grandpa is standing next to me. And I feel their energy. I feel male energy and I feel this female energy. So I had to learn how to read the energies and know what energy was my energy, what energy was the spirit's energy. So then from that, I began, once I got that down pat, then they allowed me to have visions. So then I get these visions, and I can say to my client, I have what feels to me like grandparents that are here. And we'll have that discussion about grandparents, great-grandparents. And then all of a sudden I'll be able to tell them what they're wearing. And I can only do this if the spirit wants to confirm that I have the right person. So like, for instance, I'll have this vision of this person in blue jeans, and I will ask them, well, did your grandfather wear blue jeans? Oh, God, yes, he wore them all the time. So all of these are confirmations that the Spirit's given to me for the client to confirm to them that they are actually communicating with that spirit and with that soul, which gives them an extreme big comfort level and healing.
Yeah, yeah. So
One
with
step at a
more and
time.
more,
That's how you,
yeah, with more and more sessions that
exactly.
you go
And it
through.
Actually, yes. Once I adjusted to the fact that I could now have vision, and this took several months of doing channelings and stuff, that different abilities started coming to me. Like, I went from speaking in tongue to speaking in tongue and channeling. Then I went from speaking in tongue, channeling, having visions of loved ones. Then I went from speaking in tongue, channeling, having visions of loved ones, having galactic visions, being able to channel a galactic entity. Then I went to, from there, right, from there suddenly I was able to do past lives. So I went to all those four things, and then they added that I could go see past lives. So I can actually ask them to take me to a past life that's affecting the life that you're living right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And oftentimes clients would say to me, well, was I ever connected to this person in another life? So I ask to show me whatever that other life. Like say you lost your husband, or you lost one of your children, or you lost something like that. You had a major loss in this life, and you want to know more about how your souls have shared. So now I have been given the ability to find that life and to share that lifetime with you.
Yeah.
And I get it visually.
Yeah. So it was never like you've been wanting to do a past life thing, or you've been wanting to see energy. It was just, as far as I'm understanding, it was the need of a session, a need of the client. So you were getting your gifts, right? One by one. That's amazing.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were they were unfolding one by one, like the rose. I spoke about the rose. When you first begin your awakening, you're a rosebud, and as that rosebud grows and each petal opens, that opens a new ability that you, by all rights, came here with to have. It's what they call the remembering part. So we're remembering our abilities, and as we remember those abilities, we activate those abilities. So there's really no end to it. So what ability that I have now, and they're still unfolding. I had an experience yesterday in a channeling session where I channeled a tree. I had never channeled a tree before. But this client was a tree in another life, and when I was giving her the light language, I was getting visions of trees just going back and forth and back and forth, and I was able to share that vision with her, and then one tree stepped forward. So I actually channeled a tree, and now I can channel animals. I can now trees. I mean, that was a brand new one for me. I hadn't done that before. I also channeled a living animal yesterday, which I had never channeled before. I've channeled deceased animals for my clients, but never did I have a live animal come in. And I did a session yesterday where I was channeling the light language, and all of a sudden the light language changed right in the middle. And it turns out that it was her cat that she lives with now. And he had a message for her, not only in light language, but also in English. So that was another ability that I had never used before.
Yeah,
So
in
it's
fact,
always unfolding.
I never knew that. I always used to feel that when you channel, that always means that it's about somebody who's crossed over, or maybe a galactic being who's, that's amazing that when you said that alive animal who's living now, and maybe
Yes,
like, yeah, that's
yes,
its need, right? It wants to communicate, so you are the medium. That's
yes,
amazing. Yeah, that's
exactly.
wonderful.
It is. It's wonderful, and it's higher selves too. It's like some of my clients will ask about their children,
Yeah,
and I'm able to tap into their higher self and share with them. But that's a guarded situation. The only thing that spirit will let me have and share with that mom is that which they want her to know.
yeah,
And always reminding them that every soul has its own path to live. And not all things that that mom might be seeking would be something that her higher self knows that she needs to know.
yeah.
So it's pretty safe. They're very guarded, they're very safe. So spirit will only allow me to channel that which will benefit the mom and will also benefit the child.
Yeah, right. It's amazing. And we've been talking about past lives. So you recently had the session with Alba, right? Which I saw. It was intense.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was.
Very
I
intense.
actually couldn't see it like on the first day, so I saw it in two parts. But it was so good, and I couldn't actually wait for the second part. But I had to go out. But I finished it, and it was amazing. Can you tell how it was? How you felt being there?
Um, During the session itself, um, I really had and I can't say I didn't have any control over myself because I did. I could get up, I could walk around, I could have sat up at any time and said, okay, I'm done, I'm not doing this anymore. But what it is, it's like it's like my body giving me permission to have these experiences.
Oh,
And it it was very emotional, extremely emotional, and my body reacted to all that I experienced in those lifetimes. Um,
yeah.
and Al is really, really good about guarding you. And if she feels that physically you might not be able to handle what you're experiencing, she has a way of moving you away from it and making you
Yeah,
observer. She can make you an
yeah,
observer.
right.
Okay. However, she only had to do that with all the lives that I was reviewing. She only had to do that with one that was really and not not had a lot of emotion. And at that time, I don't know if she cut that part out or not, but at that time, she said, just stand back and just be an observer and tell me what you're seeing, you know.
Yeah,
And but it is absolutely amazing, and I would recommend it to anybody if they have the opportunity to have,
yeah,
especially if you can have one by her,
yeah,
by Ava Weinman. But any QHHT can really
yeah,
help you. It gave me a lot more understanding about myself and my mission. It really truly did,
yeah,
and that's why I went to her. I wanted to know more. We have this brain that lives in this vessel of ours. Our soul knows exactly what it's supposed to be doing. Our higher self knows, but brain that wants to know more. We want to know the rest of the story. Like
yeah,
Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. So this is one way that we can kind of bring some understanding to our path that we are walking right now on Earth
Yeah.
by doing these QHHTs.
Right. I've always been wanting to do that, but there's something that it has to be done in person, right? There's no Skype. Yeah, because it's pretty intense, so I get it. So maybe someday if I travel,
Yeah.
so let's see if that works out. Alba or anybody.
Don't be,
Let's see.
yeah, well, don't be, right. Don't be surprised if Alba ends up in India because she travels all over the world doing these.
Oh wow, that'll be amazing. Yeah, I'll be waiting for that.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Yes, yes,
So I also wanted to know how. Okay, so you got to channeling Eric through the blog, or how did you now that Eric
yes.
speaks to you, right? Eric is in contact with you. How did that happen? How did you meet him?
Oh my, I can't even remember. I can't even remember the first time that he came. Oh, well, I have a friend. I call her my soul sister. Her name is Karina Carlson. And she and I hooked up very early. She was in the Audi Angels group. She was in that group. And the very first time she asked to have a light language session with me. And when we hooked up on Skype, it was like we knew each other forever. It was absolutely amazing. And she already had a relationship with Eric.
Okay.
And that's kind of how it started. She and I started working together. We used Skype when we would work together, go back and forth and back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually said to me one day, Eric wants to talk to you. He wants to talk to you. Allow him to talk to you. So kind of like she was my mentor in helping me allow him to come in. And we had a couple talks on Skype before it finally happened to where I could finally hear him. And my first encounter with him, as I remember, was him coming in, and I had a vision of him sitting on the chair, sitting backwards with his hands crossed. He had his baseball cap on, a red baseball cap, a white T-shirt, and blue jeans, and his curly little dark hair coming out around the cap. And that was my first vision of him. And then he started coming in whenever I was doing a session for somebody that was part of the blog, somebody that was in CE
Yeah.
group already. He would always pop in. A lot of the time he just observed, but if that client mentioned his name, he was right here, right up front. And that's how he works with me. He works with me. He once told me I didn't need a teacher, that everything I needed to know, I already know. And I'm kind of okay with that. I'm okay with that,
Yeah.
and because I think he's right. But it's so nice to have him as a partner.
Yeah.
And like I said, he comes in when when his people his peeps from sea come along, and he's actually lately coming in and connecting, having me connect clients that are coming to me that don't know anything about CE.
Okay.
He's actually having me tell them about CE and putting them on that track, especially when they have certain healings that they need that CE covers in their group. And
Right.
so he's like encouraging me that way. And just recently, he encouraged me to get one of my clients to go and look up Jamie Butler. I'm sure you know Jamie Butler.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. I do.
She was, yeah, yeah. She was his mom's first medium. So
Yeah.
I was
She
working
she
with
was.
somebody, and he said,
Yeah, she was the
yes,
one, initially when I was looking for, I was browsing and I saw Eric's video. So her videos were the one who got me, hooked to the rest of it. Yeah, it was amazing.
yes, exactly. She's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person, beautiful person from the light. And so Eric said, have this client look up Jamie. There's something there that is going to help this client, who's also does a lot of the same stuff that Jamie does. So he just recently did that. So that's kind of how he and I connected through Karina. Karina was very, very instrumental in mentoring me in so many ways.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
We
that's
all
nice.
need mentors in our life. When we first start,
Absolutely.
we first start out, we all need mentors.
We need, and I've been. You would know that, like in India, it's not. People are not that much open. Like even spirituality is not. It's not the in thing, and it's like a hush hush thing. Not many people talk. in public about it. So it's all the more difficult to find somebody. In fact, when I was looking for even Reiki, there are not many people who do the professional thing and who teach.
Mhm.
So Channeling Erik has been a great, and even Erik has been a great mentor. And I would like people like me. This is the only way to learn, right? And he has a sense of comfort that he gives. Yeah.
Yes, he does, and he has great wisdom. Obviously, we know that, and encouragement. He's really very encouraging,
Yeah.
and he has a way of not taking no for an answer.
Yeah, right. And he pushes you for what you need to do, right?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And what he does also is he hooks you up with somebody that can help you. He hooks you and I up. So he nothing happens by accident. It's all by it's a plan. It's divine timing, and he helps just like other spirits help us find those persons in our lives to connect with that they can help us unfold. Because we're creating light workers. A light worker's job is to create other light workers.
Yeah,
And if
exactly.
somebody is awakening and nobody's there to mentor them and to help them, they can just fade back into the wallpaper because they don't know what to do with it,
Yeah,
you know. And then there's others like yourself that are like seeking.
yeah,
Not everybody seeks. And
yeah.
that's what we do as light workers. We help them. We help them.
Right.
Yeah.
So, talking about Eric, I guess it's time to bring him in. Shall we do that? He might be already here.
Absolutely.
Did he
Oh,
tell
he's
you
always here.
something? Oh,
Yes,
he's
he's
here.
always
All right.
here. He's just praising us for our perseverance.
Is it? I know. Because of the Skype thing going.
Yes.
I know why he says that. All right. So does he?
Skype, Zoom, right?
Yeah, yeah. So does he want me to channel him? Could you ask him?
Absolutely. That was his response. Absolutely.
Okay.
Right? So what I would suggest that you do is ask him a question and have him bring the answer to you.
Yeah.
You can ask him just mentally if you want to,
Okay.
or openly, however you're comfortable. Yeah.
All right. All right. Let me see. He said hi. He's always there.
Right.
He's like, congratulations for finally doing it. Let me see what else he has to say. He's telling me to keep doing what I'm doing, what we are doing. He says it's going good. He's telling me problems, blocks would keep coming in the path, but what's important is to keep going. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Now I can actually feel that you mentioned, right? I can feel on my third eye and my crown. That's his energy, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes. He's bringing it in, so let him bring it in.
yeah. Let's see what else he has to say. He wants to say hi to Elisa. Hi, Mom. Yeah, I know why he's saying that because when I had a chat with Elisa, I had told her that she wanted to know how it goes, so she was like, keep me posted. So I'll be sending her a link.
Ah,
That's why.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Let's see what else. He's like, she'll be happy to meet you, meet me, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah. trusting yourself. It's telling me that. He knows that I have trust
Mhm.
issues still. Linda is always there to help you, is what he's saying.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. He's saying this would, what we are doing now, this would wake many people up. And a lot of them are sitting on the fence. We
Hmm.
can tell them how easy channeling is, and just that anybody can do it.
Yes.
It comes with ease.
Hmm.
So you want us to share it, share our knowledge. Yeah, and he's also saying meditating helps a lot. So he's also been telling me, past few days, that meditate more. So meditating will, whatever I can hear, the messages that I get from him while I'm channeling, it will be more clear and easy to understand. You know,
Yes. Yes.
it helps. He says it helps you to differentiate my voice, that is his voice, from your own voice.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, it
this is.
does. And we have to, yeah, we have to explain to everybody too before we close out how to meditate. Most people have a wrong idea about meditation.
Yeah, he likes the idea. He said,
And
yeah,
so,
that will be good. Yeah.
yes, it is. He's also telling me to tell you that we need to get you to the States.
Oh wow, I would love to. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Let's see
That's what
when
he's
that
saying.
happens.
And it's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen because we've already put it out there. It's in the universe now. So it's just a matter of time and everything coming together. Yes, yes.
Awesome. I mean,
That
that
you
is
will
not
that
that.
you will be in the States.
Oh wow, that's not. That never was in my plan though. But I always wanted to. Let's see if it comes. He says that
Hmm.
I will be coming. Does it mean that?
Yes,
Oh
yes,
wow, that's amazing. Thank you, Erik.
yep.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
I'll just see what else he has to say then. Yeah, he's saying, he might have told you that, right? Let's go with the light language and the meditation, what you have to say
Oh,
to the viewers.
okay.
Okay?
Okay. So the first thing we should go over is the meditation because this is what really, really going to help a lot of people.
Yeah.
And thank you, Eric. There's so many people who believe that in order to meditate, they have to quiet their mind and go blank. Well,
Yeah.
we're humans. Our minds never go blank.
Right.
And so that's not the purpose. So one of the tricks that I learned about meditation was to find a place in your mind, maybe that maybe you had as a child that when you would fight with your siblings, you go in, and hide behind the bed and between the wall, or it might be, or what you will call your safe space. And my safe space as a child was underneath the willow tree, and that came out in Alba's um, recording with me. My willow tree, that was my safe place. So find your safe place or create a safe place if you've ever needed one. And when you get in there in your mind, let's just say you have a safe place. Like mine was my willow tree, and I would go underneath, and the willow tree actually draped all the way to the ground. So when I pulled those limbs across and crawled in, nobody even knew I was there. And that was my safe place. So when I would go to meditate, when I first started meditating, that's where I would take myself to that tree. And that's what you need to do. You just need to create a safe place mentally. Think about all this stuff. You want to put a chair in it, you want to put roses in it, whatever you do, you can create this in your own mind. And close your eyes and envision. Envision that chair, envision that footstool, envision that blanket, whatever it might be. And create that safe place in your mind. And each time you go to that place, add another item like maybe a butterfly or a ladybug or a dragonfly, which is Eric. Put Eric in there with you. Um, That's his sign. Eric's sign is a dragonfly.
Yeah.
And put that in there and go there. And what you are doing is you are allowing yourself to create visions. You're making your own visions. And that's what you want to do when you meditate, because spirit will take you on trips. And that mind is active, and that mind is working, and that mind is creating. And that's what you need to do when you're meditating. You don't need to find a silent place, to go in your mind to do that. And there's many ways to do that. Some people really like guided meditations.
Yeah.
Other people like music.
Yeah.
There's a whole gamut of music, and just listen to everything until you find something that's soothing. Mine is the music that when I listen to music to meditate, it's underwater whale sounds. That's what works best for me. It's not a voice, anything. It's the voices of the whales. That's what takes me to my place.
Right.
So it's a simple process. Don't make it difficult. You can do it 1 minute at a time. You can do it 5 minutes at a time. You don't have to say, well, I don't have time to sit and meditate. Well, you do. You
Yeah.
do.
Right.
You can sit and meditate anywhere. While you're cooking, you can meditate. Just don't do it while you're driving. I wouldn't suggest doing it while you're driving. But
Yeah.
anything else that you're doing, anything that your mind is occupied on one thing, that is a form of meditation.
Yeah.
So that is
And
that is a good thing.
yeah, and there's one thing that was quite that was something that I came across in my journey, and sometimes I still do that, which can be a block for people, is that people try to see visions, right? Like, no, I have to see something. Why am I not getting this vision? That constant
You
trying
have
in
to create
itself.
it.
Yeah, and sometimes, but it becomes a block,
Yes,
isn't it? Yeah. So it's like you have to be there.
it can.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what you want to do is you don't want what your mind tells you is that while you're meditating, all of a sudden this vision's going to appear. And for some people it does.
Yeah.
For some people it truly does. But for other people, you have to allow your mind to create the vision first.
Yeah.
And that's why I say go to a safe place. Pick out what you want in that safe place and envision it. We all know what a desk looks like. We all know what a door looks like. We all know what a computer looks like. And just picture those in your mind, and that helps you create that vision of that safe place. And then, as your mind learns how to do that, that's when other things come. And then eventually it's very easy for spirit to bring you a vision, and you're receptive and you receive it. But like I said, some people right away, they close their eyes and boom, they're right there.
Yeah.
I no, yeah, that wasn't the case for me. I remember hearing people in that group, and when Audie was doing remote healings for everybody. Well, I knew Audie was in me doing the healing because I always felt like I didn't need to breathe. I would have to force myself to breathe. That was the only sensation that I ever got, was that I didn't feel like I need to breathe. And other people were seeing stars and shooting arrows and beautiful colors, and they were feeling tingling all over their body. So everybody has a different reaction.
Yeah. Yeah. And you might be
Don't try
thinking
to compare
about
your reaction with another.
yeah.
Right. See, and that's what we have to learn not to do. We have to learn
Right.
to accept what's right for us
Yeah.
and not compare it with somebody else's. Because that creates its own block.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And there's no limit, right? Even 1 minute will help, right? It will solve the purpose. It's
Oh,
not like
yes.
you have to do a 1 hour meditation every morning. There's nothing like that, right? Like a lot of
Exactly.
people think that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. It's kind of like that old thing they used to say, when something was bothering them, they used to say, close your eyes and count to 10.
Yeah.
Close your eyes and count to 10. Basically, to close your eyes and count to 10, you're meditating. That's how simple it is. Because your mind is focused just on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a form of meditation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're thinking of nothing else except those numbers.
Right.
And that's
It's
how
all
easy it can be to meditate.
yeah, it's I guess it's all about giving yourself a break from all that chatter, right? That goes on in the day.
Yes.
It's just
Yes.
that, yeah.
But
Nice.
but in order to do that, you have to focus on something else. And that's why I say
Yes.
create the vision for yourself.
Yes, yes. That
Like counting from 1 to 10.
yeah, right.
Doesn't let the chatter in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So did I hear you say you wanted? Did I hear you say you wanted me to do a blessing?
Yes, yes, you can do that light language channeling for the viewers. All right. So, and you
Hmm?
can tell if you could tell where it is coming from. Could you tell that also?
I will have to ask who wants to come in.
Okay.
Okay. So are we ready to do that now?
Yes, yes. Let's do
Okay.
it.
So let me ask who wants to come in. And I'm just going to tell your viewers that you might see me joking around a little bit, but I'm not having a fit. I'm okay. It's the energy coming in. So let's
Yeah.
see who's coming in. And my eyes will be closed during it. So let's see. This is coming from Christ consciousness.
Okay.
We're being greatly honored. Lehim bologdiamba labkudi samalahay. Mila malehala bukudi hamala akadiri sekanko. Bale bahabe idaramo olabari ai. Halam ako di hamala ang city kapag shamala apay titi apakuti alay. Hola mamadiyan na malahabali ang sukurubay alay. Himan ay alayo. Mahamagli hasan dayo. Amaninian lalaba ko di hamala kani di amagay ay o. Mahamadiyan malang balindo. Abaleniam alarakan dito ko sa kanama alabari haralaba ko sa halainday. Alayan alay turo mamadiya dala halalaba ko sa hamalainday. Mahimo ramalay buriam balayo mamahan balayo liam bulayam bulaya hello am balayo miam balayo niliam bulia sa kabalayan baliliay lahok diya sa malabaydo mahamabilinay muli mahaliang balaw inay Lion, oh lion, my lion, oh lion, my lion, I'm on my night, I'm by light, my name, oh, it is some by lion, but it is I'm the valley, oh, colony, I'm by lady, I'm by loco, my sea, my night, my lion, I loco, by. Dahil sa malilian, dalababilian, dalabay, ay, ko, anay, may layan, ay, lahay, alaya, mo, layan, alay, atay. Dahil bago sana malay, bago isang bala, kaya dahil bago habagalahin sa kaluchu. Mahamig diya sa hamalyo, toro, may labahin na isay. Mahalagay sa hamalyo, koto, malabahin, malay, bawli, ay, mahalagay sana makay. Bago sana malay, kaya di. Pahilihan dahil bago sana mali, amali ko sa ka. Bahal syuko para di ba si, may niya malo. Mahumay na isi, na malayo tala, bago isay na mo. Mahingay sa bulubako mo bilihan baile di ida di buku saan mai so o hamai si da di buku di anda di si ada di syuko ta ahai tai da di buku sa di dia pagli da di di hal sa kuto ai di amale hai da di buku sa di bagali syuko ro si ai si amale hai da le buku tai mai nine to shumai kai la bagidi ka mani no mai mahala mai ku sa kabidri sanda bale isyu do Mahindala, may sandali mo sa hilay, buti sa amay ay. Dahil malusyo pala na kinidibiksi. Ningo darabay. Balay sa budiriya sanda bay kai. Ay kai suko siya kamahi. Hitay na ba kung sa mga kai. Ay kai suko di sama na hindi gani birsong. Nikidi yahala ba kasi. Ay hisi gani na o. Toho ba siya pa hindi ay lai udar. The words that I got in the words that I got at the end was saying, "You have received a blessing from He who sits next to the Father."
Oh wow. Yeah, it was emotional, right? It was, I could feel
Yes,
it.
yes,
Yeah. And I
yes.
could actually feel it in my
It's amazing. It's
around my eyes. It was intense. Very nice. Wow. That was
very loving, very loving, very. It's it just blows me away every time. It really blows me away every time. And my heart was, I could feel my heart. And it's not like when your heart beats really fast or anything. It's just like I could feel my heart expanding and getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as his consciousness was entering my heart, and my heart space had to open up to let him in, to let that in, that love in to my heart. And that's kind of how the emotion starts. And I'm trying to figure this all out. This is another awareness, okay, you guys. We talk about these awarenesses coming in little intervals as we're ready for them. Um, the Christ consciousness that came through me during Alba's session, which any of those who haven't seen it that would like to see it, it's on the Alba Wyman's site, and it's session number 201 under the name of Linda Hack, I believe. And um, that was the first time that I actually channeled Christ consciousness.
okay.
I have had Jesus come with me and be here with me before, but it was the first time that I channeled the light language of Christ consciousness. Now this is the third time that I've channeled it. He came through one of my clients. So this is just another, and the awareness I had come with this, and it just kind of came to me yesterday, was when I feel this emotion from Christ consciousness, I'm feeling his emotion. It's not Linda's physical body that's feeling the emotion. It's Linda's physical body reacting to his emotion when he speaks to us this way.
Yeah. You can feel you can feel what he feels while he's delivering the message, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly, exactly. And that's something I didn't understand when it came through with Alba. Even though all that emotion was there, I thought that was just my emotion, the physical vessel of Linda, right? But it wasn't. It was his emotion coming through me. Kind of like trance channeling, what you were talking about.
Yeah. Right. It's amazing, and actually it's visible. You know, I guess like now
Yes.
that we understand energy, and like I still feel that for a person who hasn't heard it before, but still they feel it. It was intense. Yeah.
Hmm.
Amazing. Yeah. So
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
would you also like to tell the viewers about if they want to book a session with you, what you do, and how they can reach you? Can you say that?
Yes, I am lovely. We'll put this on the video at the end, so you'll have it in writing. It's www.channelingbylindalee.com. Pretty easy, channelingbylindalee.com. And as a lot of the stuff that we covered here, I channel loved ones, pets, um, guides and angels, um, trees now. My new one is trees.
Yeah.
Um, and I can take you into another lifetime that will influence this lifetime. I can bring in your galactic guides and entities that you may have relationships with from other lives, what we call other lives. We've come to learn that all of these lives are actually going on simultaneously, but they're in different dimensions and different
Right.
what we call time frames. Okay,
Right.
but so all of this is open to me, and the most important thing is when you book a session with me is to be open, have an open heart, have an open mind, and realize that the information that comes through me is that which your higher self, guides and angels, know that you are prepared and ready to receive.
Yeah.
That's what's important.
What they need at the moment, right? What they need to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And a lot of people want to know what's the future. What's my future? What's going to happen in my
Yeah.
future?
Yeah.
I'm a little cautious when we go there. I'm a little cautious when I go there. I get a lot of information. However, those things can change. Anything that's we'll call it a prediction, okay? Anything that we see for the future we'll use the terminology prediction. Like, are you going to find a man and that you want for your life and fall in love, and will this be your forever person? Well, they might show me somebody. But because we each and every one of us have free will and our life changes on a day-to-day basis, does not necessarily mean what I see is going to come to fruition. Because that other person I'm seeing, something may change in their life, and something may change in your life.
Yeah.
So you have to be very cautious as a medium what you allow yourself to predict for another person.
Yeah.
And what you're looking for in that forever person could even change.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
so as long as a person comes to not just my session, but anybody's session, just
Yes.
come with that caution, knowing that you have free will and you can change that. Anything that's in the future, you have the right to change.
Yeah. All right. All right, Linda. It was a great session. Thank you so much for doing this. And I would also want to tell
Oh, you're
the viewers how they can find you. I'll be putting everything in the description, including the information about Channeling Erik and all the amazing stuff that it's out there on YouTube, and also about your website. Thank you so much for doing this, Linda. It was amazing speaking to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.